Hi guys, welcome to Babydoll's Happy Hour. Today I wanted to talk to you about the things that I learned when I was going through recovery. Is that good? Okay. So we're going to talk about, and this one's going to be short, it's going to be like 20 minutes. Nothing is more important than my health. This is something that you have to really believe. Like you can't just say, oh, I kind of care about my health. Or, I just don't have time to think about my health or anything like that. Like we have to be really solid on how we feel about our health. Because if we don't have that as a priority, we're not going to do any of the things that it takes that's necessary for paying attention to our health. So becoming sober and being a sober-minded person and not having anything in front of God, not having, your peace pipe, your vaping, your smoking, drinking, pot, whatever, overeating, whatever the thing is, we can't have anything be more important than God. We can't have anything be more important than our health. And the second one is to keep your priorities prioritized. So not only do we need to have God first and our health first, right up there with family, but we need to prioritize yearly and daily and weekly, all the things that matter first. And so if you think about like whatever you've got going on for the day, you've got one thing that's like the most important thing. And then you've got something else that's like the second most important thing, and the third most important thing, and the fourth and the fifth, and so on and so on. And we've got to keep our priorities, because when we have a thought that is something like, well, it just doesn't matter that much. Well, it's not that much important. It's not that important. I don't think about that much. Well, this is why this is a problem in your life. Like as we get older, especially if you're my age, 52, but really any age, we need to be thinking about our health for our kids. Like I want to be not just around for my grandkids, but I want to be able to run and pick them up and carry them around and catch them if they run away from me in the mall or things like that. Like your health matters, your heart, your lungs, your blood work, your mind, your capacity to understand things. Some people might be 52 and think, well, I've worked really hard. I've did everything I could and I did the best I could and that's it. Why would you stop there? The Bible says that our latter years will be better than our former years, which means the best is yet to come. So you still have things to do. You still matter. And you matter more to your family than you think you do. And we need to prioritize. So the first one is nothing is more important than my health. And the second one is keep your priorities, and prioritize every day. Make a list of what you need to do and always make room for your family. Always make room for the important relationships in your life, especially your husband and your kids. And other people that have come along that have become a really important part of your life. That needs to fit into your schedule. We can't just workaholic any more than we can friendaholic and always be part of this, always be part of that. And the third thing is relationships matter, which moves me right into the next one. So number 3 is your relationships matter. So in my recovery, I had damaged relationships. I had damaged my health. I had damaged my relationship with God, because when we're living in an environment and we've created this environment that isn't good for us, we have stepped away from God. That is what happened, because we decided it didn't matter and we decided that we don't care. And so we move into a place where we don't prioritize. We don't care about the people in our lives. We don't even care about ourselves. We don't even care about our health. And so now we're going to have a lot of health problems, and that's going to cost a lot of money. And then all the money that it's going to cost to take care of us because we didn't take care of our temple is going to be stressful. And so now we're going to be in a cycle again, just like I drink because I'm stressed out, and then my drinking causes problems, and so then I'm stressed out, and so then that costs money, and it's this whole thing that spirals out of control. So relationships matter, and I had really damaged relationships. It wasn't the best with my kids. It was definitely the worst with my second husband and all of my stepchildren. And that, sometimes relationships are not repairable, and we have to make that decision one person at a time, one season at a time. We definitely have seasons where we're working more than we did in another season, or we definitely have a season where we have more downtime than we maybe did in another season. But for the most part, we need to make our health a priority. We need to decide, and that's really just a decision, and that we're going to keep our priorities. And that's a decision too. And that's a daily thing. And then relationships matter. So we can repair those relationships, but it takes time. Like I was talking about last week I think it was on Thursday, about how we can't get into our gym clothes and go to the gym and work out one time and eat chicken and salad all day and expect our weight to change. So we can't expect to go get on the scale and for that to be different, right? So it's the same thing in our recovery. So we have to give ourselves time to repair our relationships, to improve our life, and to reset our priorities. And this takes time. It also takes time, and it will evolve over time how other people are going to treat us in response. Like I was talking about last week. So let's say you didn't spend any money one day, and then you're expecting your husband to be happy with you and be so glad that you didn't spend money that day. He's not going to do that. He's not going to buy you a cake and spend money to buy you a cake and bring you balloons because you didn't spend money that day. Sometimes we over celebrate the wrong things, because I am a celebrator. I love to celebrate. I want to celebrate my people. I want to celebrate me. I want to celebrate life. I want to celebrate accomplishments. I want to celebrate, all the great things when they happen in our lives. But we can't expect a celebration for every little thing in our lives. We started this, what I'm going to say was a really bad habit with kids. When my kids were younger, and there were their friends, their parents were celebrating days at the age of 7, 8, and 9 with limousines. And I'm sorry if you were one of those parents that did that, but that's a little much, in my opinion. We can celebrate people for who they are, and it not necessarily has to cost so much money or be such an extravaganza. I mean, that's great that you can afford to do that. And it's not about, well, these people can and these people can't, and so you shouldn't do it. That's not what it is for me. It's that if we're over exaggeratingly celebrating things from a young age, then now you have trained that person as an adult that they need giant celebrations for every good thing in their lives. And it doesn't always have to cost money. That's the thing. Like, I am a celebrator. I want a cake for every occasion, but it can be too much, where now we are expecting it and demanding it. So a girlfriend of mine the other day was opening up her heart to me about something that she didn't really like that had happened in our relationship. And I wanted to share that because it's really good when we're really close with people and we feel like we can open up and share things like, this happened and it made me feel like this. Or when you texted me this, then it made me feel like you don't care about me, you don't love me. And a lot of times when we actually have the communication going on between each other, then you can solve it before it turns into a massive problem where nobody's talking to each other. And, I've been really focused on what I'm doing in my life in the last 6 months. And I'm the kind of person that stays very busy. I'm very busy in my kids' lives. I like to be there for my husband, and my father lives with me, and I like to be there for him. And I get him dinner every evening, most nights. And I don't cook all the time, but I make sure that he's fed because he's 77, 75, 76. I don't know, something. Anyways, we got to just pay attention to things like that and make sure that people know they feel loved and cared about. And it just takes little things in your life to really pay attention. So when we're trying to be sober, or we're trying to stop a bad habit, or starting over into a new season, we can feel like nobody is on our side, nobody cares about us, or nobody really understands what we're going through. And I just want to tell you and be encouraging that it takes time, right? Like when we put all the ingredients into the mixer and pour it into the cake pan and put it into the oven, you have to wait for that to cook before you can eat it. And so it takes time to lose weight. It takes time to reverse damage that we've caused in our physical body. And hopefully, it's not too late that we can actually have enough time to reverse some of these things by walking, eating healthy, stop drinking. And you don't need to use pot. You don't need Delta 8, Delta 9, or whatever the things are. Like, you don't need those things. Now, if you're a veteran and you've got severe PTSD from war, and you're doing things like that, and it's completely monitored for someone, awesome. As long as it's being monitored by a doctor. But most people do not need all these things. We don't need it. You absolutely do not need it. And I'm here to tell you that you can live your life without these things that you think you need so bad to calm you down. When you stop using these things that you're using to cope with, you will not need them anymore. So what you have to do is trust me and trust God that you can let go. You can let go of smoking. You can let go of over shopping. You can let go of all the amount of time that you're spending on the phone or talking about a situation. Like I used this example last week. We can take all of the elements of our past and load them all up in a giant suitcase, drag them around, and every person that we call to tell that story to, it's like we're walking over to their house, unzipping the suitcase, pulling everything out of it, and explaining all these things that happened in our past over and over and over and over. And this is what causes depression. When you're so consumed by what happened in your past, my mom died, my dad went to prison, my biological father wasn't around. When we overtell those stories, then we're living somewhat still in the past. And so we're going to be depressed. That's just the fact. If you're depressed, the first thing that you need to look at is, am I using any medication or any kind of drugs or any kind of alcohol? Because if you will take that out of your life, you will not be depressed. Put down the smoking, put down the pot, stop with the pills, stop drinking, and start walking. Start moving your body and stop talking about your past, and you will not be depressed. You need endorphins. You need the good positive effects of walking and the blood flow that goes to your brain and all of your organs. You need to drink lots of water. You need to eat protein and vegetables. I'm not going to get off on tangents about, paleo and vegan and all that. That's a topic for someone else to explain to you. That's for another day and another person. But you need to eat healthy. And you need to put things in your body that are healthy and stop with all the things that are not good for you. If it's not good for you, you do not need it. So that's just a matter of getting through 3 to 5 days without it. And one of the tricks that I did, I had a rubber band on my wrist. And every time I thought about drinking, I would just pop it. And if I had to pop that rubber band all day long, and if I got mad and I got sad and I had to call my sponsor every 5 minutes, I still wasn't drinking. So if you just get through that first 3 to 5 days without the thing, your body and your chemistry will start to change and adjust without it. and you will walk into a new season of recovery without needing those things. You just got to trust the process. I thought about this last week. It's like you've got to have a process in order to have progress. And we must be proactive about all three of those things, about what is your process, changing your routine, changing who you hang around. Put the pipe down, put the cigarettes down, put the fork down, and walk. And just tell yourself, you know, Tasha, we are not going to do this no matter what today. And just do one day at a time, one day at a time. And so the number 4 is don't settle for any area of your life. This creates mediocrity and apathy, and that also will lead to depression. So a lot of times when we have been through a lot, like if you're not somebody that's been through a lot and you're on my live, I hope you will continue to listen so you can understand how it is for people that have lost a parent, lost a child, have addiction, have a drinking problem, they're overweight. Like, please listen so that you can understand how to help them. One of my passions too is how to help people that are enablers. But also, you know, like when I went to a treatment center, they wanted my family to come there and listen to ways that the family can help me, your daughter, your mom, whoever it is in your family that's struggling. They need help in certain ways. And if you have someone in your family that is struggling with alcohol or food or smoking, or, you know, please pay attention. Google it. Like, how could I help my friend? How could I help my mom? What is it that I can do? We can't own their recovery. And you certainly can't tell them just stop. It doesn't work. Like, that is not a plan for an alcoholic. Just stop. You need a sober coach. You need meetings. You probably need a counselor. You probably need a treatment center. If you don't like AA, please take a look at Celebrate Recovery and join my inner circle, because this is a anonymous, safe environment. We do it on Zoom, and everything that we talk about there stays there. And so we are welcoming. We're going to talk about whatever people need to talk about. I'm going to have different topics each week. It's every week on Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. And so I hope you will take a look at that. You can go to any of my social media and find how to get hooked up with that. And so I hope you will join me. And when we've been through a lot in our past, we tend to think, well, if I can just have a job, then I'll just take whatever I can get. Well, if I could just have a man, I'll take whatever I could get. If I could just find any woman, I'll just take whatever I can get. If I could have any place to live, I'll just take whatever I can get. Now there is an element and an aspect of that. Like if you're literally homeless, like I didn't ever actually live out of my car, but it looked like I was living out of my car because I was moving around from house to house so that my ex-husband wouldn't find me. It's terrifying. But yeah, you may be in a situation where you have to live just wherever until you can get on your feet again, until you can get a job and start to put your life back together. But don't give up on you. That's what I want you to know. Like, don't give up on you. Try to find the best next path. So if you've been following me for a little bit and you have your journals and you've been doing the 30-day challenge, I saw my friend Stephanie doing the mocktail the other day. And it made me so excited because you can come up with fun drinks that are so good for you. I was talking about this yesterday. Like, you can get sparkling water. You can put fresh cut lemon in there. Lemon will detox your body. Cucumbers have a lot of vitamin B and a lot of other things that are good for you. And I like cucumber, blueberry, and lemon. And it's so refreshing. And I have served that at parties and people love it. Or you can make a fruit tea, like peach tea or raspberry tea, and make it fresh and put lots of sugar in it because you're having a treat, right? So it's good. It's yummy. Or mix it with half sweet and half unsweet. Not that you're going to drink it every day, and I'm not promoting sugar, but if you're going to have a treat and it has some sugar in it, it's better than alcohol because, now don't do that if you're, borderline diabetic like me. I watch my sugar and I do it pretty seriously. So, but don't become mediocre, and don't just settle in any area of your life. Like, just because you went a rough season, somebody died, you lost your house, you had a house fire. I've been through like so many things. Don't decide you're going to settle. Decide that, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity now for me to write down everything that I do want in my life. And I'm going to absolutely get rid of everything in my life that does not belong to me, that is not healthy for me, that is not good for me. Like in my second marriage, my husband and the stepkids basically turned on me at one point. And it was going to be so much work and take so much effort to turn them around. And they had decided that basically I wasn't fixable, that I couldn't recover. I would never stop drinking. I was repairable as a person. And that was so hurtful because I had stayed there through the death of Montana and helped them learn to drive, get their driving license, get into the military. Like, I was an encourager and I was praying over them and helping them to have their best life. And I had stayed a little bit longer because I felt like, and they had said to me that I was the closest thing to a mom that they actually had in their life. And their biological mother was very damaged from the marriage that they had been raised in before me. There was a lot of damage before I ever even got there. And I don't know how much of that damage to their mom happened because of their father, because it was beginning to happen to me. And the youngest daughter told me one day, I don't want you to stay with my dad because I don't want you to turn out like my mother. And that hit me really, really very seriously. And I'm grateful for that. And so there's going to be some relationships that may not be repairable. If there are people in your life that think you're no good, you're an alcoholic, you're an addict, I'm not going to be around you. Now, they don't have to be around you as you're recovering. Nobody has to be around you in your mess. When we decide that we're going to keep drinking and we know we have a problem, when we decide that we're going to keep using and sneak around and do it, even though you're living with your mom and she says it's not allowed and you're in her house, they don't have to do that. They actually don't have to do that. I have a friend that her husband has gone back to prison for his drug use, and he wants to blame her for his drug use. That's not a thing, guys. You can't blame other people for your choice in using. Absolutely not. So when we make the decision that we're going to turn it around and we're going to repair the damage, it takes time. I'm getting at, it takes time. So you got to give those people time to come back around, and you got to show them that you're not going to spend today, and you're not going to spend money tomorrow, and you're not going to spend money for a week, and you're not going to spend money for a month. I did that at the first part of the year. I went a couple of months and tried to not spend at all. And it was hard, but I did it. Because if you can stop doing something for 30 days, then it may not be as big of a problem as you think. But if you cannot stop for 30 days, you have a problem and you need help. You need counseling, maybe a treatment center, a sober coach like me. But you got to get some help. So thank you guys for following me, and I hope I can help you guys. I have one more. So number 5, and then we're going to be done for today, is every family is fighting to survive. And every family has got stuff going on, and especially right now, this is one of the most devastating times of my life for sure. I mean, I'm not even going to go into it all, but it's hard for a lot of people right now. It's hard financially for people. It's hard mentally for people. People are fighting anxiety because they're afraid for the future. That's what anxiety is fear of the future. And they're fighting depression because of their past, because every time you talk about it, you're reliving those moments in the past, and we have to learn to get healthy and recover and talk about it differently, and only talk about it when it's going to be useful to someone else, like I'm doing here, and not live there. Don't live in the past, don't live in the future, but learning to live in the present day. So that is my tips for this week for Baby Dolls Happy Hour, and I'm just so grateful that you came on, and I hope that you will share this with your, they might be struggling with someone in their family, because everybody's trying to survive. So number one, nothing is more important than your health, except your relationship with God. That's number one. Number two, in recovery, is keep your priorities, keep the important things the important things. Keep the number one things the number one things. And when you do that, everything else will settle itself. We don't have to talk about everything all the time and try to fix it in our own flesh. We're causing more problems by talking about it all the time than if we just let it settle in, take it to God, pray about it. So nothing is more important than my health. Keep your priorities prioritized. Relationships matter. Give it time. Talk about things. Open your heart up. Receive when people share with you. When people tell you, I am not comfortable around you when you're drinking, listen to them. Open your heart to what they're saying to you. Number four, don't settle in any area of your life, no matter what has happened behind you, whether it was your fault or somebody else's fault. Listen, you get the opportunity to start over and make everything fresh, everything new, everything right, everything new, improved, and better. And now you can life. So don't look at it like you've totally failed, you've ruined everything in your life, and there's no chance. You will never get better if that's how you think. So you got to get over that hump, and you got to figure out a way to do that. And every family is fighting to survive. So be nice, be kind, share this video with people that you know. Thank you for joining me. And you can follow me on all the platforms, social media, and I have a website, babydollmartin.com. And I just pray for you, and I hope you have the most blessed, amazing day, and I will see you later at 7. Bye, guys.